which actually brings up the issue about apartheid and the relationship between apartheid, South Africa, and Israel. I was stunned to read that in your book. Can you talk a little bit about that, what you discovered?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I guess the first thing you need to know is Israel declares its independence in the same year that apartheid is declared in South Africa in 1948. The story starts out with some recognition among the early forefathers of Israel that the spirit of apartheid is somehow not consistent with their own desires for liberation. And I think that was a truly, held instinct. And if you, look through the book, there are all, sort of all of these quotes, where folks, as a Jewish person, I can't support this. A Jew cannot support, apartheid from various, leaders of the state. Golda Meir, who goes to visit, with recent African, heads of states who've just thrown off the legacy of colonialism, is welcomed into Rhodesia if she will leave them behind. And she refused to do it. So I think there was a genuine sense, and repulsion at this. Nevertheless, Israel evolves into one of South Africa's staunchest allies, if not its staunchest ally. It becomes the state that provides most of South Africa's arms. It becomes the state with which South Africa, with which it exchanges troops to understand how you restrict and how you take rights from people whom you rule over. And it culminates I'm sorry, I don't have a year on me right now, but I believe in the early 1980s when John Voister, who is then the Prime Minister of South Africa, comes to visit Yad Vashem. Now, John Voister was essentially a Nazi in South Africa during World War II, okay? And here he is at Yad Vashem, which is the World Remembrance Center for the Holocaust, laying the wreath of apartheid South Africa in honor of the victims of Hitler's systematic white supremacy. And I tell the story of a guy who was a South African Jewish activist who was in Israel and recognized that something has gone wrong here. And he's going around handing out flyers, trying to, protest. What's to say? This is not, consistent with who we are as people. And he sees a guy with an Auschwitz tattoo on his arm, and the guy rips down the poster. And he says to the activist, "We will make deals with the devil to protect our Jewish state." And on some level, you understand this, because it's like, if you face the fires of annihilation and manage some small percentage of you to come back, to protect your people, to protect your community, God knows what you would do. But at the same time, as an African American, my greatest fear for us is not that we never throw off the yoke of oppression. My greatest fear is that we do, and we decide that there was nothing wrong with the oppression, save that it was just us who was catching it. I fear that. I fear the conclusion that the only problem with slavery was that black people were the slaves. I deeply, deeply fear that. And this is, by the way, present for us right now, like literally right now. And that was what I saw in the state. It's not what I see every time I talk to a Jewish person. It's not what I see in, all Jewish people. That's what I saw in the state project. In funneling one's liberation, through a state project. It was very disheartening.